is the liberal, or progressive? You prefer progressive. Which one is the progressive and which one is the conservative? Let's see. Born in Philadelphia, grew up in an Adlai Stevenson worshiping home, worked for George McGovern in 1972 for my sins. And then you got a guy who played football and from Morehead State, right? I mean, straight from the heartland. You'd think we should be on opposite sides tonight, wouldn't you? Oh, where did you go wrong?
Well, Michael, I didn't go to Yale. Well, you're probably smarter than that other guy from Yale.
Bill Clinton, absolutely.
The way he's run Hillary's campaign, that's the guy I'm talking about.
So before you run through all your best lines, gentlemen, let's kick off the debate here.
I don't need you guys here. I can turn into a Republican and just cut you off the payroll.
You're just doing the jobs Americans won't do.
Well, that's very true. One thing that we're not doing is protecting the border, but I guess we'll get to that a little bit later on. As a Minnesota resident, I'd like to thank Michael for doing this. He's an accomplished broadcaster, tremendous author, and he's a real credit to our industry and very respected. It's an honor to be up here with you tonight. And I was just kidding about Yale, but I did get stuck at that little small school up the road at Morehead State. But we had a terrible thing happen over there about 3-4 years ago. The library burned down and both books were destroyed. I'm just trying to tread through some water here tonight, so it's good to be here. And I don't want to hog up too much time to start out, but I just want to tell a little story. Now, when we started our liberal talk show, we're now in our 5th year. And this is kind of a benchmark evening for liberal talk radio in America. You conservatives actually paid to get in the door to hear me say something.
And by the way, one of the things that you'll find with conservatives who listen to the Patriot is that we welcome disagreement and cultivate it. And as a matter of fact, sometime if you're free between 2 and 5 in the afternoon here in Minnesota, call in, and we would love to welcome you. As a matter of fact, one of the things that's very striking is it's only at the end of the campaign that Senator Clinton and Senator Obama discovered that the top-rated cable news network might be worth talking to.
I'm not here to debate with Bill Clinton.
Mr. Schultz, a big issue for many of us in this election is the war. Is this election going to be a referendum on the war? And if so, who wins? You have 2 minutes.
It will be a referendum on the war, but it's also going to be a referendum on a number of other issues as well. The country has shifted dramatically on our position on fighting terrorism. The majority of Americans do not believe that Iraq is the central front on the war on terror. And I'll even use a conservative label, as we'll just, since it's the majority of the audience here tonight. There's no question about it that we have depleted our resources. It all started with a lie, bad strategy, poor follow-up, and a shot in the dark when it comes to nation building, which President Bush told us that he would not get involved in. So yes, I do think it will be a referendum on the war.
I would just say I don't think it's going to be a referendum on the war because every election is about looking forward, not looking back. The referendum is going to be on the future of the Middle East and the future of Iraq and the future of the United States of America. I don't believe that serious people, and I don't believe that Senator Obama in his heart believes that somehow if American troops withdraw, we will end the war any more than the withdrawal of American troops from Vietnam and the betrayal of what so many Americans have sacrificed for Vietnam, any more that withdrawal ended the war or the killing in Southeast Asia. Remember one thing about the truth about that war. More people died in Southeast Asia after America left than all of the 8 years that we were struggling there. We cannot afford to betray people who stake their lives on American commitments.
I'm just going by what President Bush said. He said we weren't going to get involved in nation building. I think we are all of the intelligent flock to know that September 11, 2001 had nothing to do with Saddam Hussein. It was used as an excuse to go after oil and to nation build. And undoubtedly to select a 72-year-old man who wants to be there for another 100 years would probably be the wrong thing for America, seeing that our military resources have never been this depleted since the end of World War II. That's the Bush administration.
Shifting ground to another issue that is dividing America, one of our congresswomen, Ms. Medved, Michelle Bachmann, said. Congresswoman Bachmann said a number of years ago that she thought that Leave No Child Behind was a massive intrusion of the federal government into our local affairs in our schools in Minnesota. Wondering if you agree with that, or do you think that Leave No Child Behind is something that should have been passed and that we should have?
I think that Congresswoman Bachmann is correct, as usual. The federal government... The Department of Education in the federal government doesn't educate a single child. Look, it makes no sense in the world for people to come out to the Twin Cities, reach hands into your pockets, take your money, send it back to Washington, and then the Washington bureaucrats are supposed to determine what percentage of your money comes out to feed which community schools in the state of Minnesota. Anything that removes educational decision-making and the actual education of our children further away from parents and kids is a mistake. Any further
Being the son of a high school English teacher who watched his mother stay up till wee hours of the morning grading papers, I saw my mother raise 5 kids in our family and be a high school English teacher. I know what her commitment was to education, and I know that that profession produces people and has people in it that are no different today than back when my mother was teaching at Granby High School in Northland, Virginia. You know the great thing about public education in America? It's one of the greatest institutions in the history of this country. It's a wonderful